friends, I'm really excited for this art video. You're going to need some special things. Today we're going to be doing mandalas. I know a lot of you already know about them, but I thought it would be fun to do together. The feedback I've gotten on the videos so far is that people are really appreciating how calming they are. And art doesn't have to be calming. It's sometimes really exciting and exuberant. But I think that at this time, finding something calming is valuable. And so the art that I'm gonna offer is calming, and I can't think of anything more calming than mandalas. So I have a bunch of crazy stuff in front of me, and basically you need to find things that have a circle that you can trace, and ideally things in different sizes of circles. So you might wanna pause me now and go look, find yourself a collection of things that can trace circles with. So hopefully you have gathered a collection of things that have circles that you can trace of various sizes. For the project, you will also need a pencil, a piece of paper, a ruler is helpful, and eventually you'll have the choice to color it if you want, or to outline it with a black marker, but those are optional. The word mandala comes from Sanskrit language, and in Sanskrit it means circle. And there are a lot of cultures for which the mandala is something you draw and then you also look at to help you meditate. It is something that helps you let your mind relax. And so I am offering you this art project with respect to that tradition. And I'm going to invite you to let your mind relax as you do it. There are a few steps. The first step is drawing the circles. So you're going to start with the biggest circle you want to draw, and you're going to place it on your paper. And then just like we traced our hands for a handful of feelings, you are going to hold your pencil straight up and down and go around the circle, hugging close to the bowl as best you can. And then my circle is not perfect. I can see a little area over here where I bumped off of it. It's okay. It's your art. We're doing it to enjoy ourselves, to relax. So it's okay if it's not perfect. There is my circle. And then I'm gonna take my next smaller thing. So we're making nesting circles, or if you want to use a great academic word, concentric circles, circles within circles. So I'm gonna take my next biggest thing, and then I'm gonna try to, the reason we start with the biggest one is because once you've got the biggest one, then you can line up the littler ones inside. I'm going to, as best I can, draw this one. And this is a bonus because I can draw the outside of my duct tape, and then I can also draw the inside. So I'm gonna go around on the inside here. So 2 for 1. So my circle is growing. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty light with a pencil. And then I think I'm gonna draw, trace the outline of this little paint pot. Lining it up in the middle, going around the outside, like so. That one was a little harder to trace, and so my line is a little wonky, but like I said, it's yours. If the wonkiness bothers you, you can erase it and draw it again, but it doesn't bother me that much. I'm gonna draw the tiniest one on the inside, holding the object that you're tracing steady so that that doesn't move around, and then going around with your pencil. All right, now you've got your concentric circles, your nesting circles. And the next step, some people do and some people don't, but I think it helps give you sort of guidelines for where to go with your designs, is to draw, to divide your circle into at least fourths, into 4 equal pieces, or you could even go into eighths. So I'm going to, as best I can, first I'm going to kind of look with my eye and see where is halfway through the circle. Where would I divide the circle so it's exactly in half? And I'm going to go pretty lightly with my pencil, 1, because I don't want these lines to show up in my final design. And 2, I don't know if you can see because I did it really lightly, because if I don't feel like it's the right spot, then I can erase it and start over. So I've divided my circle in half. I drew one line, so now I have 2 equal halves, and now I'm gonna draw my second line, and I'm gonna get how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So now it's into fourths. So from there, now the next step is actually a little easier, because I'm gonna look at my fourths and I'm gonna say, where can I divide it so that each of those sections is exactly in half? So I'm gonna go through that line, and so when I cross through it, each one goes through the center point in the middle now. So I'm gonna keep my ruler on that center point in the middle and see if I can get it exactly, each section exactly in half. Right there. Nice. Paying attention to that center line in the middle one more time. My last line right here. And if I wanted to be a little mathy about this art, I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal segments. So now my circle is divided into eighths. And I am ready to start doing the design. Here are some examples of some very basic designs. We call them petals, lines, circles and dots, triangles, pointed petals, nesting petals, spirals, dotted lines, and something I just doodled that I think looks like a cactus. Use these or think of your own. All right, friends, so now you can use these as inspiration, or you can do whatever feels right. The idea is that your pattern moves around in a circle in the mandala, and I like to do repeating patterns of the same kind and see how they connect. I also like to listen to music that makes me feel happy and calm, which you may or may not have noticed is the Beatles. You, of course, have your own music that makes you feel happy and calm. But as you watch me work through this one, we're gonna listen to a little Octopus's Garden. So I'm gonna start with this sort of petal in the middle. I'm gonna mirror it on the other side. And then here's where my guidelines come in handy. I'm actually gonna put it on each of those little guidelines that I see around the side. And then look, very quickly, I've got a pattern right there. And I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna move that to the side. You can also use your patterns in combination, so it doesn't have to just be triangles. And turning the page is really helpful too. Now I'm looking at this little space in between each of those triangles, and I think I'm gonna put a spiral there, just because. We would sing and dance around. And I'm just working my way out from each of those circles. I think for this one I'm gonna go with that sort of pointed petal. Ooh. I like this one so much, I think I'm gonna make another layer on the outside. Knowing they're happy and they're safe. Under the sea in an octopus sky. Keep going. Maybe let's do those dots here. Got them in each side. here's how it's shaping up. I'm curious to see how yours is shaping up. If you get stuck, like I feel a little stuck right now, I'm gonna just sort of sit back and look at it and maybe look at my inspiration lines of patterns and see if anything strikes my fancy, or just kind of feel like, what do I need? I've got some swirls and patterns here. Maybe I need some lines to balance that out. Is there a right way or a wrong way to do this? What do you think? No. Do what looks good and feels good to you to do. I'm gonna keep working on my mandala. I'm gonna invite you to keep working on your mandala, and we'll come back when we've finished with this step. All right, friends, so here is my mandala in pencil. I have just used some really simple patterns, but by repeating them, I think it looks pretty spectacular, and I bet yours does too. Now, you can just leave it right here and say, this is my mandala, and look at it and think about making it, or you can make another one like this, or you can take it another step. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm going to outline it in a waterproof black marker, and then I'm gonna be able to color on it afterwards using watercolors, which is my current favorite thing to do. If you would like to use markers or crayons or colored pencils to color on that, on your mandala, that is just fine as well. But if you would like to experiment with watercolors, the next step needs to be done with a waterproof pen of some kind. All right, if you, like me, did that last step, then your mandala is looking a little bit more bold with black outline. I also noticed when I was doing it that I decided to add some things on that weren't originally in pencil, but I just was inspired in the moment to do it, so I did it because it's my art. If you did it in black, this might be a time where you would like to erase your pencil lines. So especially those spots where you had drawn some guidelines that you didn't want to be in the final product, or if you, like me, oh, the whole thing is shaking, sorry. If you, like me, didn't trace perfectly on where your pencil lines are, and you'd rather just have the marker showing and not the pencil, then you can just go over it with an eraser like so. Ta-da! And now you have your mandala looking very bold and black and white. And maybe you think, this is it. This is what I want my finished product to be. And if so, fantastic. Maybe you think this would look really great with some colored pencils or some crayons or a set of markers or a combination of all of those. And if so, fantastic. Maybe you have a set of watercolors or paints that you want to try, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So remember, these art projects are always invitations and inspirations, but where you take them, that's up to you. So I will show you where I'm going to take this, and then we'll meet back together with our finished products. I have finished my mandala project for today. This is definitely a project that has lots of steps that you can take relief. So perhaps for today, you just want to practice drawing those concentric circles, or you want to make your designs in pencil and leave them there. You could build on it by going over them with pen, or coloring them with whatever you like, be it crayons or colored pencils or markers. Or if you use watercolors, here's my one pro tip of this lesson. I learned this from an artist who came to teach all the teachers at Cherry Valley. And instead of using lots of different paper towels you just find an old sock. I am sure you have one. I have lots of old socks around, and you cut the toes off, and then you take your sock and it becomes a sort of bracelet that you can wear on your wrist, and you can clean your brush right there. It's ever ready, so that as you're painting, you don't have to use up a whole lot of paper towels, and you don't have to look for a rag to clean it on. All right, a little bit of practical art knowledge, but hopefully an activity that can bring you a little bit of calm and that you can go back to whenever you want. I cannot wait to see the mandalas that you create. I hope you enjoyed this one.